I have talked for a long time in my continuing criticism of corporate media, of mainstream media. I have criticized and voiced my, I don't want to say disdain or contempt, but suspicion. Let's go with suspicion. My suspicion of certain journalists who practice access journalism, who, because they're close to the person they're reporting on, they get details and then hold some details when they write a book, critical details, critical reporting that we should have known sometimes years in advance that they held on to because it was just a juicy enough nugget for their book. And Maggie Haberman is one of these people. She certainly does good work and good reporting, but it is the access journalism holding on to things that bothers me, makes me suspicious of her. But one thing that we cannot be suspicious of is the fact that she has access to Trump. She gets the details. She, as far as I know, has never had to back away from reporting that she's done. There's never been a correction or I got it wrong. She's almost always absolutely right. And she was on with Anderson Cooper last night talking about how she describes Donald Trump as disoriented. And they're talking about how he is rattled right now because he's not running against Joe Biden. And he's having to go through the same motions that he went through talking about Barack Obama and really any other person of color that he comes up against as an opponent. He recycles the same racist tropes. But she uses the word disoriented to describe the state of Donald Trump right now, flummoxed, having no idea how to deal with campaigning against Kamala Harris and the runaway energy and momentum behind her campaign. Watch this couple of minutes from this interview.
Joining us now is New York Times senior political correspondent Maggie Haberman. So if Trump is in fact rattled by Vice President Harris, is it clear to you what it is specifically that rattles him so?
Well, I think there's two things, Anderson. Number one, she's closed the polling gap with him in a pretty short amount of time, and he had gotten very used to running against Joe Biden. That was comfortable for him. He knew what the line of attack was, and his campaign had spent a lot of time and money on it. But she is a woman, and she is a black woman, and both of those factors have proven pretty challenging for him in the past. Yes, he is. His allies will say he is an equal opportunity offender and he goes after everybody. And it's certainly true that he insults a wide variety of people, but he has seemed to really struggle with women opponents, women critics, and particularly black women who are critics.
It is also just remarkable how kind of regurgitated many of the messages coming from Trump are, not just regurgitated by Trump from years past, going after Barack Obama, talking about his name, pointing out his middle name, raising questions about his origins, but regurgitated from dozens of American political races in our history. I mean, calling people Marxists and communists and demonizing people of color.
Trump is a man of few moves, and so we have seen him make the same ones over and over. You are correct that he is trying to run against Kamala Harris the same way that he attacked President Obama when Obama was in office and Trump was flirting with the idea of running for president in 2011 and was promoting the birther lie, that suggesting that the first black president was not legitimate to serve. You can see his campaign, if you look at the Trump War Room account on Twitter, they are trying pretty hard to bait her and to bait Democrats into a fight about race. That has been something so far that the Harris campaign has not taken the bait on. But this is something that we have seen him do before. It is something that has come up in other races. Again, we will see what this race looks like in the fall. But so far, the Harris campaign has been pretty focused on what it wants to talk about, and it's not what Donald Trump wants to talk about.
Is it clear to you, does he still receive, messages from, does he still talk to a whole strange cast of misfit toy characters throughout the day? CNN has been reporting that some Trump allies are concerned that he's more susceptible to fringe conspiracy theories when he's most vulnerable. Who has his ear right now?
Yeah, Jonathan Swan and I reported this weekend about the fact that he is so disoriented has left him pretty susceptible to being manipulated. He's actually we just reported that he has a meeting planned with Miriam Adelson, the widow of the casino magnate Sheldon Adelson, this week at Bedminster, and this comes after he attacked her abruptly out of nowhere over text through one of his aides a couple of weeks ago. He has a lot of people around him who either support conspiracy theories or don't like what they see as the establishment or are critical of certain kinds of Republicans. And when he is feeling cornered, he tends to listen to those people. He is clearly feeling cornered right now.
Let me start with that. He's so disoriented right now that he's exceptionally susceptible to being manipulated. Is that what we want in a president of the United States? Someone who is so easily rattled by having to campaign against a black woman that he's susceptible to manipulation. Is that what we want in a commander-in-chief? Someone, just on the face of it, who can be rattled by having a black woman as a political opponent. That's scary. Further, some of the old tactics aren't flying anymore. It's not 2016 anymore. There's been an ocean of events in our history, culturally and societally, that make people less tolerant of Donald Trump's misogyny and his racism. People are just tired of it. And we're seeing this play out in poll after poll after poll with the momentum of the Kamala Harris campaign. It's not looking good for Donald Trump. And I would also give this advice. If anybody out there is listening from the Democratic Party, if anybody's out there with an ear to the railroad track relative to listening to advice, don't take the bait on Donald Trump trying to goad the campaign into dealing with the campaign on his terms, on his particular messaging. Let me and my peers in this space and others deal with that for you. Because Donald Trump is just an old, crotchety weirdo. Donald Trump is just a misogynist and a racist who is using people's fears, using people's bigotries, appealing to the basest lizard brain element of them to cast doubt on outgroups. He knows it works, especially with his voter base. What do you think? It's a hell of a clip, is it not? I would love your participation in this conversation. We can mix it up in the comments. You can talk about it there. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Please consider helping me produce these videos. You can do that for $2 a month. Click on the join button, becoming a channel member. You can also swing on over and check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. It's virtually the same thing as channel memberships, just on a different platform. Follow me on social media if that's your thing. I'm at Dollemore everywhere. I'd love to see you there. Things are looking up. Things are good. Be genuine. Take care of one another.